Are we good?
Yep.
All right. So welcome everybody to the Portsmouth School Committee meeting of Tuesday, October 14th. We're going to have everybody stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have a moment of silence. For this month, I'd like to recognize that it is October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I don't know if you saw in the news that a 2022 graduate, Kate Martin, is currently having some critical health issues because of an alleged domestic violence attack. So if we could keep her in our thoughts while we have our moment of silence, I'd appreciate that. So please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So my apologies for us being here a little late. Prior to this meeting, we had a wonderful tour of the new high school career and technical education spaces. I wish you guys had come at 6:30 and you could have all toured them and seen what you could do in high school, but everything from video production, biotechnology, business, etc. So again, my apologies that we're starting this meeting a couple of minutes late. Prior to this session, we had an executive session, which we recessed, and we will reconvene after our business meeting. So we will not be sealing the executive session minutes at this time. Let the roll call reflect that all school committee members are present. In case of emergency, we have an exit here, we have an exit there, and we reconvene over at the new gym. Hopefully no emergency tonight. Let's see, on the chairperson's remarks tonight, we had a school committee workshop on September 25th. We went through the superintendent's goals. We had a strategic plan exercise, talked about enrollment and a list of presentations, and several of these topics you will see on our business agenda tonight with regards to the goals and in the superintendent's update on the presentation schedule. As part of that workshop, we talked about the need to maybe rethink how we're going to do our evaluation. Superintendent Viveras has proposed a new approach. And so we mentioned that we would like to create sort of an ad hoc committee to review our evaluation instrument for the end of the year and looking at Frontline, which is what the superintendent uses for the administrators. And Ms. McDade has volunteered to take on or chair that ad hoc group. And do I have two volunteers? It probably would be, thank you, Ms. Skian. There's one. Anybody else want to volunteer? I think, what are you thinking? A couple of meetings?
Yeah, but yeah.
Mr. Fox, is that good? Oh, okay, great. Mr. Fox as well.
All right, perfect.
And again, a couple of meetings and then work with the superintendent, review it, bring it back to the committee. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think the first thing we do is we look at Frontline. Yeah. And see it's something that we can build from. So we see, and maybe we look at that and say it's just perfect the way it is, and then we're done. Mm-hmm. I doubt it, but or we'll come up with some changes we want to make and adapt from there. So
great. We look forward for you guys reporting back, and thank you, Mr. Fox and Ms. Skeen, for volunteering on that. PHS homecoming is October 25th. And we need to let Ms. Kupanjani know if we are going to attend. So if you haven't already done so, if you could let her know if you're able to go. They assemble at 12 o'clock and then they have the homecoming parade. And afterwards, the game, I think, starts at 1. So I don't know if you've been noticing, but Portsmouth football is pretty victorious. 5-0 now, 6-0? 6-0. So hopefully it'll be a good homecoming as well. I'm going to change the agenda a little bit tonight because we're really having a celebration of the CTE programs, and we have a very special guest here tonight that we'd like to recognize. So I'll be moving up a business item, and I'm going to be moving public comment down to the end so that we can get to our main part of the program, which I also think will be very interesting for our scouts here in the audience as well. But we do have to go through, sorry?
That motion approved by the board to change the agenda?
The chair can do that? Yeah.
Any rules?
Sorry?
Is that in the bylaws?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do just the subcommittee updates, and if our liaisons are here, and then we're going to go right into the main part. Ms. McDade? Policy Subcommittee.
Yes, so we met on the 6th of October. We discussed several policies. The first one, which was policy DKC, having to do with travel expense authorization reimbursement. You'll see later on in the business portion of tonight's agenda. We had several policies we discussed and decided to bring them back into the subcommittee with either issues that needed to be resolved or revisions that needed to be made. So those were policy IJOC, which has to do with volunteers in schools. The electronic email policies, which are old policies, 5151 for students and 4351 for staff. And finally, student attendance and truancy policy, which is policy JE. So all of those will be coming back to our subcommittee. And we also have a really nifty spreadsheet in the works that lists all our policies and provides a place where we can better search them, organize them, make sure we're identifying the ones that are in need of update the most and that kind of thing. I've been adding keywords so that we can do searches that are a little more robust. So that's going to be a big help.
Great. Will that be on the website? Or is that-
Our hope is eventually, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah. It'll be a while.
All right, are our PHS liaisons here? Please introduce yourselves and you have the floor.
Okay, so I'm sure many of you know me. I was here last year, but my name is Melina Dooley, and I'm the president of the executive board for Student Council.
Hello, everyone. I'm new. My name is Victor Chulis. I am the treasurer for the executive board for Student Council. And yeah.
We're both seniors this year.
And you'll be our reps now for the year.
For the year, yeah.
Awesome, welcome.
So towards the end of September, we had our open house and the attendance was better than ever. The auditorium was filled with students and families. So that was a great for everyone to experience a day in the life of being a student here. Our first blood drive of the year just happened and there were 28 donors present and 22 were successful. So we had 3 double reds. So we potentially saved 35 lives, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We're preparing for our upcoming Spirit Week to take place through the week of October 20th, what you mentioned. So Monday's pajama day, Tuesday's the music day, Wednesday's theme day, Thursday's our color day, goofy games, and then Friday's red, white, and blue. And then we have our homecoming parade, which this is us formally inviting you all to come. Please come.
Thank you, thank you.
And then we have our dance at the end of the night and football game. Our Patriot Leadership Academy just went on a field trip to the URI Challenge course. We did the low ropes course leadership activities. This field trip was we both went. And
Yeah, it's for like leadership to like kind of see how we can grow as leaders and how like everyone has their own opinion. So we did some like cool outdoor stuff where like you have to be quiet and like make animal noises to try and communicate in like situations where if you're at a disadvantage of trying to communicate and develop or like communicate with other people and use your best leadership skills to be able to do that.
So like a lot of communication and collaboration with others in ways that you don't normally, like non-verbally and stuff. And then peer mentors, we started doing that. So we show up for freshman advisories once a week and help them navigate through all the new high school stuff and experiences. Spirit Week right now is a big one, and talk about midterms already and all that stuff, just so they have older people in the school that are still students that they can look up to and give their opinion to. So we both do that too. So we love doing that.
And then this Friday, the PHS marching band and color guard went to Hathaway Melville for their annual fall performance. Also last week, the PHS band was named the ABC 6 Band of the Week and had a story on the news. Our band has always risen or always been like the best, I feel, for the state. They've always been known for how well they are, and especially this year out on the football field, them being loud and everything definitely helps it. And then earlier today, all students took the NEA at ASC survey to share their perspectives on the school. Dr. He said that these results will be used in the school's ongoing self-study to help determine ways that we can improve the PHS. So everyone in the school took it. We took it during advisory. It's like a 25-minute survey just based on like questions like how do you feel about school, or your teachers there to help you, all that kind of stuff. And then this past Friday, we had a flu clinic so the teachers and students at PHS could get vaccinated. I think it was a pretty big success for it and
Yeah.
everything. Preparations have begun with the PHS Drama Club for their this year's fall production as Alice in the Wonderland. All the productions they've done have always been popular and a lot of tendency. The PSAT and then the MSQT is exactly 2 weeks on October 28th. I think it's at the school. And then agreed on some purchases as student council to get a mascot finally.
We finally are gonna get a mascot.
Oh,
Looking forward to it.
Took a while, but we found a good one and we're fine. I mean, it definitely won't come in this year, but hopefully next year.
well done.
And then there was a pump break in the pond because I knew we just kind of like redecorated the pond and made the courtyard really pretty. And there was a little pump break during the summer, so we just bought one of that. And then we approved to get a new tree for Ed Fitzgerald. I knew he had a tree or chair before, and we finally decided to get that. And then finally, some athletic updates. Football is 6-0, including the injury fund game. Sean Gray, one of our track runners, went to New Jersey for a meet and is committed to University of Virginia.
18th in the country.
Yep, he's 18th ranked in the country. Boys soccer team is playing right now, actually. I think they're up 1-0. The girls soccer team has their annual pink out game. All proceeds go to the Three Angels Fund. Varsity is at 6:30, and I think JV is at 4:30, as well as volleyball is playing right now for the girls.
Yeah, all the other sports, there's more.
There's more.
Yeah.
We mentioned the good stuff. Some
Yeah.
are doing a little worse, but.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
it for Tonight.
Melina and Victor, thank you very much. We appreciate you guys
Thank you.
taking time to do this year.
Thank you.
All right.
See you next month.
Moving on to superintendent's update.
Go ahead and wait for that. All right, and we're going to just go ahead with a quick personnel update. We welcomed 2 new hires to Portsmouth this month. We're getting closer to having all vacancies filled. I have a few final interviews coming up in the next 2 weeks, and I'm hopeful that we'll be fully staffed by hopefully the end of the month. So getting into our September and October updates, it's been very busy. I'm excited to share this month's updates. We're going to kick it off with October being Principals Month, a time to recognize and celebrate the incredible leadership in our schools. Our principals play a key role in shaping the learning environment, supporting teachers and inspiring students. We're very grateful for their dedication, vision, and the countless ways that they impact our classrooms, our schools, and our community every day. So thank you, Dr. Heath, Dr. Masterson, Mrs. Laurie, and Mrs. Little for your commitment and for leading with heart and purpose. So thank you very much. On Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, Melville School was one of only 3 schools in Rhode Island honored as a Blue Ribbon School, recognizing outstanding academic excellence and progress in closing the achievement gaps. Although the federal Blue Ribbon program ended this year, Rhode Island created a state-level program to ensure schools like Melville still received this well-deserved recognition. So congratulations to the students, teachers, and leaders for this remarkable achievement. So thank you very much. It was exciting, a very exciting day for us. Right, next up, we are proud to announce that Mark Alcolea Vila has been named the 2025 U.S. Presidential Scholar, one of the nation's highest honors for high school students. This marks the second year in a row that Portsmouth High School student has received this prestigious recognition. The program honors outstanding academic achievement, artistic talent, and excellence in career and technical education. Each scholar selects a teacher who had the greatest influence on their success. Mark chose Portsmouth High School engineering teacher Tyler Angers, who will receive a personal letter of recognition from the U.S. Secretary of Education. So congratulations to both Mark and Mr. Angers for their exceptional achievements. Followed by another amazing achievement. So Portsmouth Middle School will be honored by Rhode Island Department of Education as a PBIS Bronze Level District of Distinction. We're proud to welcome Commissioner Afante Green, along with state, town, and school leaders to celebrate this amazing achievement. This award was from the Northeast PBIS Network, recognizing our strong implementation of positive behavioral interventions and supports, and our commitment to fostering a positive learning environment. So this will be the commissioner's second visit this October to Portsmouth, highlighting the great work that's happening in our schools. The celebration is going to take place on Thursday, October 30th at 9 a.m. in the middle school. And please, if you haven't RSVP'd yet, please do so. On Friday, October 10th, the Portsmouth High School band visited Hathaway and Melville schools for a special performance with a superhero theme. Our high school students brought music, energy, and excitement to our youngest learners. This really is such an amazing day, and I've yet to miss one of these days since I've been here in Portsmouth. So thank you for everyone who created that memorable event. It was really great. Next up, we've got some work at Hathaway. Hathaway hosted its first SEL event on September 30th. Families gathered and enjoyed a playful event where kindergartners and their families explored feelings together through hands-on activities that built connection, safety, and regulation. Principal Little read The World Needs More Purple Schools by Kristen Bell and Benjamin Hart. This inspiring book celebrates curiosity, creativity, and the power of working together, all values Hathaway School embraces every day. On Friday, October 3rd, as we've already heard, 66 student leaders from Portsmouth High School participated in the Portsmouth Leadership Academy team building kickoff at the URI Ropes courses, joined by our student life coordinators, SRO Sylvia, our athletic director, and several other teachers. Students engaged in outdoor activities designed to strengthen bonds and develop leadership skills. We look forward to continuing this program throughout the year, inspiring students to grow as leaders, both in the schools and beyond. After emergency repairs were needed this past spring, our roof project is now nearly complete. It took a bit longer than expected, but the finished results are looking good. Unfortunately, we did have a few leaks that came through today due to the heavy rainfall. I'm being told by our architects that this is not uncommon with a new roof and could continue through the upcoming months. Our facilities director, George Simmons, is here with us this evening. If there are any questions about the roof, we could pause for a minute.
It's just all covered. We don't have to pay another dime, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Right, next up. Our RICAS, NGSA, SAT, and PSAT results were released earlier this month. I have shared those results with the committee and with the community. This data shows that we continue to have some steady growth across our schools and helps guide the work that we need to do to support our students every day. I'm very pleased with the district's progress. We are continuing to analyze those results and in the upcoming weeks, and we'll have a full data presentation on November 12th. Mr. Rose has taken that on as one of his responsibilities this year, so he'll be presenting our data in November. And our last update here, we're going to be hosting a parent forum on Tuesday, November 5th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Portsmouth Middle School. Families are invited to join this event to share their ideas for our next 5-year capital plan. This forum is an opportunity to discuss what improvements and priorities our community would like to see in the schools, from facilities to programmatic enhancements. We're working to secure childcare to make it easier for families to participate. Also, just a reminder that our survey remains open. We're asking parents, staff, and community members to share their thoughts. The QR code on the screen will take you to that survey. That's it for my district updates. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Ferber?
The NGSA test, that's a science test, isn't it? Is that the test that determines where we stand in the state?
It
And
does.
we are generally consistently number one?
We
Is that,
had been number one for quite a few years. We slipped a little this year.
we're not number one this year?
We're
I'm
not.
sorry, I asked the question.
It's okay. It's okay. But we did improve the score. We consistently have improved. There are a few districts who
So we're number
took a
two?
little bit of a leap.
We're not number 2.
We'll be sharing all that information at our November meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
I did see it's in the news that, they've talked about getting rid of most of the people in the Department of Education Special Ed, but that shouldn't have no impact on our students here.
As of right now, there has been no impact.
Okay. Good. All right, now, I mentioned earlier, I was changing the agenda, a couple of moving things up a bit, because we're at the main point of our business meeting tonight, where we're really celebrating our CTE programs. And we have a wonderful event to announce, but before we recognize that, may I have a motion, please, to move up business item A?
So moved.
Second. I need the A.
Oh,
You have to
I
read
move
it.
for discussion and action on a $6,000 donation from Mr. Gary Vital. Is that correct, the pronunciation?
Patel.
Aquidneck Pools and Spas for the Portsmouth High School CTE Business Program.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous, 7-0. And now, Dr. Viveros, can we move forward with the recognition?
Yeah, thank you. So Mr. Vital reached out to our district a few weeks ago and wanted to connect with the high school regarding a possible donation and scholarship opportunity. Dr. Heath is actually here this evening, and he's going to share the details of this exciting partnership. Dr. Heath?
Thank you for calling me to the podium, and I should say up front that Mr. Vital didn't want fanfare, so.
Uh-oh.
I really
Sorry.
apologize. I'm big on bus, but it's well deserved. So, thank you so much. So I just have a brief little bit to read as Dr. Viveros just described, and we're going to just ask the Vital family to come up if they could. I know we're missing the Andrew and Nick, right? They graduated a year ahead of me in Tiverton, so there's more connections than I think we realized. But if I could just read this piece really quickly, expressing our thanks. So shortly after my arrival in Portsmouth roughly 3 years ago, I was informed that one of the ongoing major initiatives at the high school is to reestablish the school store. Once housed in what is now a tech closet outside the cafeteria, the new and improved school store would need a new space and would need to support growth and experiential learning of students in our newly established business pathway. While my first thought was that this would be a fun and relatively easy assignment, nearly 3 years in, I'm not ashamed to say that this task has been admittedly more difficult than I had anticipated. Now, don't get me wrong, we've come a long way in the past couple of years. We no longer have a local business pathway, but rather an elite state-recognized career and technical education program that draws students to study from around the state. We also have a local business advisory committee that helps to inform the direction of our program and encourages a wide range of community partnerships. And as of tonight, I'm proud to say that we now have a generous local donor that's agreed to provide our business program with the seed capital necessary to purchase merchandise and get our school store up and running. It's with great pleasure and gratitude that I'd like to enthusiastically thank Mr. Gary Vital and his family of Aquidneck Pools and Spas for their generous, not $6,000 donation, but after our original conversation, $12,000 donation. So thank you, Mr. Vital. A little bit about Gary and how this donation came to be. In April of 2024, Gary and his family tragically lost his wife, Paula, suddenly and unexpectedly. Shortly after, Gary generously established 2 scholarships in his wife Paula's name, one in their hometown of Tiverton and one here in Portsmouth. The scholarships are designated for graduating seniors that share in the Vital family's entrepreneurial spirit. As outlined in their Rhode Island Foundation scholarship description, to start out, Paula and Gary ran Aquinic Pools and Spas out of their home. Paula envisioned something bigger and better, a storefront. Paula and Gary invested, their entire savings of $6,000 and opened their Aquinic Pools and Spa store just down the street from where we currently sit in 1995. Gary was once quoted as saying, early on, there were some days that no customers came in the store, and Paula and I would wonder if we'd done the right thing. Neither Gary nor Paula had any formal college training or knowledge of business management, but undaunted, over the course of 30 years, created a multi-million-dollar business. Paula and Gary made the most of every situation, even spending one anniversary installing an above-ground pool in the rain, laughing all the way. Their children, as well as their children's friends, were all involved in the business, building and cleaning pools and pools. This past spring, when arranging for Paula's scholarship to be awarded to a member of the class of 2025, Gary serendipitously mentioned that he was willing to help support our business program and students in any way that he could. So when our students and teachers identified the need for startup support for our school store project, we knew just where to turn. In all of our conversations since, Gary's been enthusiastic, supportive, engaged, and most importantly, invested in our students' success. In addition to providing financial support, Gary's expressed an interest in helping us to problem solve the vast array of conundrums that come with opening a business. As a small token of our appreciation for Gary's contributions, we'll be mounting a plaque that's actually right behind me here in honor of Paula's memory in the school store space, as well as mounting a second plaque that longitudinally identifies winners and identifies the spaces in remembrance of Paula's icon. Gary, thank you so much for your generous donation. Speaking on behalf of the Portsmouth High School community, we're enthusiastically looking forward to working with you as we get one of our most exciting experiential learning opportunities off the ground in the months to come. Your willingness to support our students and the surrounding community is truly remarkable. Thank you so much for your gift. Would you please come over to me? Recognize.
Dr. Heath, how about if we have you kind of come in front and take a picture with everybody, all of you there?
I'll turn it. Where would you like us to stand?
Oh, maybe in front of the books or the screen or something, whatever's convenient.
If you stand there, then you can see it on the screen.
Oh, yeah, okay, but podium, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just watch your stuff.
All right. It's like you won the sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words? You don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot. I just want to give you the opportunity.
Something me and Paul, like I said, we had started with no background at all in this. We've definitely learned the School of Hard Knocks, and we hired a lot of kids from Portsmouth over the years that have actually gone through a business that have gone on to greater and better things. And not everybody's made college, and that was the reason behind the scholarship. One was to keep Paula's spirit and memory alive, and also to contribute and help the community. The community has been great to us here, and we appreciate. So this is a way of giving back, and I know this is something that Paula would have definitely wanted to do here. So this is kind of who we are, and we always give back all the time here. So, and like I said, I'm looking forward to working, and hopefully this will work out. The young lady who won the scholarship in Tiverton this year, she does murals, and I thought she's gonna do a mural in our store for us. And I told her we're gonna do it, we're gonna pay her, she's gonna promote it for her. And I mentioned to her about possibly doing a mural here, and she was very open to the idea. She said she would love to do it. So if that's something the students want to design in there, she said she'd be more than happy to do it. So and going forward, I'd like to, be able to help, any way I can, and hopefully some young students will, I'm sure they're gonna go on their own. They're not gonna go to college, and this gives them to take the next step to move forward here. So.
Well, thank you so much. And we'd like to just give you a big round of applause. I mean, all of these programs that we're going to be hearing about with the CTE programs tonight couldn't be done without these wonderful, wonderful community partners. And you're a big part of that for the business program. So thank you again. Yeah, they're on, microphones are on all over. So I'm assuming, Mr. Costa, they're all working. Good. Well, thank you. So the second part of this kind of celebration of our CTE program agenda tonight is a presentation, and Dr. Viveros?
Thank you. So earlier this evening, several of us were able to take a tour of our CTE spaces. Mrs. Corin Claire, she's our Director of College and Career Readiness. She is here this evening with us, and she's going to provide us with a detailed presentation of all of our programs. So welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Paige Corwin-Clare, and I'm the Director of College and Career Readiness for the Portsmouth School Department. Tonight, I will highlight the work we're doing with our current CTE pathways, although many of you have gotten to see some of it already, and share our goals for continued improvement. We currently have 7 RIDE-approved programs and 1 locally approved pathway. The goal for these programs is to provide engaging learning experiences for students, preparing them for both college and careers by teaching real-world academic and technical skills, fostering critical thinking, and building pathways to in-demand jobs, industry certifications, and further education. I know Dr. Viveros provided you with an enrollment update earlier in the year, but this is a snapshot of the enrollment of our out-of-district students by their sending district. So we have a total of 78 students enrolled from out-of-district, which is up from 65 last year. And for comparison, in the school year 2020-2021, we only had 26 students from out of district enrolled in our CTE programs. So out of the 759 total students currently enrolled in Portsmouth, 306 are enrolled in a RIDE-approved program or our local pathway, which is for the state as well. I went to the CTE board meeting last week, which was the first one for this year, and we were discussing their strategic plan. It was approved in February of 2024, and these are the 3 goals that they're outlining. So the first goal aims to have every student graduate high school having experienced CTE coursework. So that means that the CTE participant is described as a student who's taken at least 1 course in CTE. A concentrator is defined as a student who's completed at least 2 CTE courses. And then the completer, which is what we're really looking for, is someone who has completed all requirements, including the sequence of 3 courses, earning the industry credential, and completing 80 hours of work-based learning. So we currently have 704 students that are participants, so we're trending toward that RIDE goal, enrolled at least 1 CTE course. Last year, this is really something that we should be proud of as well. So last year we had 79 completers, which means they've done all the pieces of it in our 7 approved programs. So as you know, last year we applied for and received a DODEA grant. The goal of the grant was, it's titled Enroll, Enlist, Employ to Excellence, is to improve college and career STEAM outcomes in grades 5 through 12 to ensure that they're ready to graduate from Portsmouth High School. So last year was the initial planning year. It's a 5-year grant, and this year marks the start of our implementation years. And this funding has been critical for investing in the infrastructure of all of our programs, providing professional learning time, and aligning our curriculum between Portsmouth Middle School and the high school. And essentially, we have the previous DODEA grant, the Sprouting Success. This tends to build off of that because now we're going all the way through the 12th grade. So as you've seen and you've heard about, we have innovative and exciting things happening in each of the pathways, but I'll just quickly highlight some of the things that we're seeing around. So the students in the Introduction to Engineering course have been using VEX kits to design and build a beanbag launcher. And then some of you got to see the Trebuchet project is what they're working on, the big, it's a Trebuchet. Is what it's called. So they built those last year. This is a big day for them. They're really excited about Launch Day coming up soon. And their goal is to beat last year. They hurled a baseball 65 yards with the Trebuchet that they made. So they're pretty excited about Launch Day. Bioscience was only approved as a CTE program last year. It's already showing tremendous growth. Students are looking forward to field trips to the URI College of Pharmacy and completing work-based learning hours at the Roger Williams Marine Biology Lab. We're also doing a lot of work with Ag Innovation as well. We have sort of a subcommittee that we're working on getting students down there to get some work-based learning hours as well. The digital media production program. So it's an award-winning program, and the goal for students this year is to expand their horizons into participation in different festivals this year, as well as working closely with new industry partners. We've also tasked them with creating a promotional film that will showcase each and all of the CTE programs, including testimonials from former students. So we're hoping to get that the next month or so. We'll share that with you as soon as we have it. The next one is our child development. The students in Child Study 4 are working with the organization Books Are Wings to run a book drive with the goal of donating books to communities where children might not have access in their own homes. While the students in Child Development 3 are preparing to start their internships at our elementary schools and local child care centers. Students in the advanced, and you actually can see it right outside the door here. Students in the Advanced Art EEP course, that's Early Enrollment Program course, are working on speed, accuracy, and form with these drawings of chili peppers. It's in preparation for their self-portrait project later in the semester. They'll travel to RISD. They'll have a guided tour and continue their research on portraiture. That was a hard word to say. Look for the final creations at DeBlois Gallery in February, and they actually do the art installation there. That's a big piece of their work-based learning as well. Okay, students in music production 1 have completed their song mashup, where they chose a song and edited it so the song would play with all the parts to it rearranged in a different order. They also applied more than 15 various music effects to the different parts. Although also a new program, we're seeing growing interest as several students have expressed interest in starting a music production club after school. And then our JODIA grant has also allowed us the opportunity to provide sound and light training for both the PMS and PHS faculty, which will then be shared with the students. It's sort of the train the trainer model, and they'll be able to work the functions in our auditorium here. Business management, students are showing tremendous interest in the recently approved business leadership management program. The students in the capstone course are working on an interview project with local entrepreneurs. They've taken ownership of the school store, and we're continuing to design the business space with the goal of creating the look and feel of a college business program. We're also working in collaboration with Roger Williams University to be able to offer dual enrollment for our students for next year.
Nice.
And this is our local pathway, our criminal justice pathway. They did this last year, it was a huge success. They're hosting an industry education career day in November with guest speakers, including representatives from the state police and the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. They also work in collaboration with the Portsmouth Police Department as part of a student police academy. Students attend evening seminars, hands-on activities at the police department, learning about various topics and also learning work-based learning there as well. You've heard a little bit about the FBLA as well. We started this last year, recognizing the incredible opportunities it provides for students and the significance of a student organization group as a liaison to the business pathway and opportunities for students to again earn work-based learning hours, as well as compete in statewide events and scholarship opportunities. They also raised $1,000 for the American Alzheimer's Association last year.
Nice.
This has been an area that we're doing a lot of work. We know that the middle school represents that critical window for decision-making for future occupational pathways and introducing youth to career-relevant experiences and opportunities. So we've been working to develop a robust and diverse curriculum within our 21st Century Skills course. That's really where this started, with the Perkins money was being allocated to middle schools for this purpose. But we have noticed that what we really have found beneficial is working with they have an amazing unified arts team as well. So we're working on that vertical articulation and we don't really want to say feeder programs, but we want to say this is a way for students to explore what possibilities they have once they get to the high school. And so we're working with them, and then there's a lot of different places that we're looking here this is what's taking place in the 21st Century Skills course, but really looking at how the other unified arts teachers have really aligned with this work as well. So in recognition of that, we created, in fact, we had our first meeting, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. It's a vision committee. So we're really looking at, we know we need to collaborate with the middle school, and time is, of course, our biggest obstacle. So, but to get that vertical articulation, we created this vision committee, faculty members from the pathways at the high school, as well as the Unified Arts and 21st Century Skills teacher at PMS, met with administration and school counselors to really kind of define what our goals and vision of this committee would be. So we wanted it to be really open. It was after school virtual meeting at like 6 o'clock at night, which is really kind of the only time we could get it going. So in honor of everyone's time, we were thinking we could have this bigger committee meet quarterly, but from there we identified what's going really well, what things do we know and not know at the different levels, and how can we support that. So we had them identify the challenges, and that's really what will make up the subcommittees. so that everyone's using their skills and best time. So one that was brought up almost immediately was marketing. And so we have a subgroup that's going to start to work on that, which I think it's key. We have to have constituents from all elements to make that successful, I believe. But it was a simple thing, and it really hit me, is that at the middle school, they have a pottery class, and here we call it ceramics. And while that seems like such a simple concept, the kids in the middle school, when they were saying, like, do you want to take ceramics? They were, I have no idea what that is. They couldn't make that connection. So even something as simple as using the same vocabulary across all levels, we think will be helpful. Okay, so our goals and next steps. So again, working with the middle school, they are doing their first annual CTE fair, and we're going to have it for all 8th graders on December 8th. And here again, we can speak to children and tell them this is really cool. You're going to end up with college credits or industry credentials. It means nothing to them. Like, what are they going to do for fun? So it's seeing the spaces, and Dr. Masterson made a great point about it really needs to be multiple touch points, because we can't just tell them once or show them once. So this is the first year we'll be doing this. We're going to have representatives from all the CTE programs at the middle school with students. So ideally, they're going to have some kind of hands-on activity, and we're still kind of working out the kinks on what that's going to look like. But then to follow that up a couple of weeks later with a field trip for the 8th grade students here, where they can actually come in and see the spaces. So they'll hear about them from students. They'll get sort of that brief introduction, and then we'll be able to show them the spaces. Again, we're working on the open house. We've gone back and forth a little bit on the dates for this, when it's best to do it, how we want to do it. Again, we want it to be student-centered, because we just find it so much more meaningful to people if the students are actually presenting what they're learning. So we're looking at early February for that, but as soon as we get out that date, we'll let you all know. And then, as you saw, we're working on the school store and just really working to improve our learning spaces. That's it.
Well, great. So we have questions from the committee. I've got a couple, but there are other people who want to jump in first. I think we still have the superintendent of Little Compton here, right?
She had to leave.
She had to leave. Are we working, because Little Compton does come, to Portsmouth High? I was just thinking, for that fair that's at the high school, will we be sure to invite the 8th graders from Little Compton for that?
Absolutely. We're just figuring out the logistics of what that would look like as far as their schedule, our schedule, busing, but I know that it's a priority for her as well. So we want them all to be together as much as possible.
Good. And as we're celebrating community partners here tonight, I'm impressed that we're doing the articulation across our grades. I know part of the CTA is really reaching out with community partners. Are we doing a CTE advisory board?
We have actually every pathway has to have their own advisory board. And then I sort of represent everyone at the state level for it. But yes, in fact, we're doing some professional learning committees within our CTE groups this year. And that's the goal of each of them, is to create their own advisory board. We have a strong advisory board with digital media is actually Mr. Bailey's goal for this year. We have a great one with business, really strong with business, because they helped so much create what it was going to look like, all the different components of that program. So there's a couple that we're just kind of like, what we don't want it to be is a name only. They really only meet like twice a year, but it's really important for us to understand from the industry level what they're looking for. So yes, those are critical. And they also have them at the state level too, so that there's local advisory boards and state level advisory boards.
All right. Questions, anybody? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good updates. And if you haven't had a chance to see all the spaces, they're really pretty incredible. We ought to get them on our website or something and just have that kind of visual tour that we had tonight on our website. So this ends the CTE portion of our program. If you're wanting to head out, we don't want to keep people for the whole meeting if they're not wanting to avoid dinner, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you so much for coming. All right, moving on to approval of school committee
I
minutes.
move for the approval of the school committee meeting minutes of September 23rd and the workshop meeting minutes of September 25th.
Second.
Any discussion, additions, changes? All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous, 7-0.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous 7-0. We already did business A.
I move for discussion and action on the business development timeline for fiscal year,
Budget.
budget development timeline for fiscal year 2027.
Second.
What did I say?
Second for discussion. Have we got that up there? Yeah, Mr. Duro?
I'll hit the highlights for you. So tonight's discussion does kick off the FY 27 budget process. We'll go through this same timeline tomorrow with the district leadership team. By mid-December, budgets are due back from our principals and directors, department heads. Take a short break for the holidays. We come back into January and have individual meetings with each of the principals and directors. And of course, the finance subcommittee members are invited to those meetings and can attend as well. The items in yellow are just proposed dates for the finance subcommittee and also the capital planning subcommittee. So those are not written in stone, but I'm sure Heather will be reaching out and getting those scheduled. We then have three meetings, the two meetings in February and the first meeting in March, where we go through drafts of the operating budget and also approve other portions such as the IT capital plan, gates, receipts, and facility rental budget. March 10th is the date we'll be looking for our final school committee vote. We will then submit our budget to the town administrator on March 20th, who will combine it with the town budget. Then the town council will hold their budget meetings. We're tentatively scheduled for April 29th. There's the June 10th public hearing, and then on June 22nd, the town council will formally adopt the budget.
Yep.
It should look very similar to last year
And the year before that.
and the year before that.
Yeah.
I think really
It works. It works.
yeah, I think really the only change is if you go up to January, normally we have that budget kickoff or the joint meeting at the end of January. But because of our capital plan, that's when Mr. Rayner suggested moving it up to the earlier. So
That's the
that
date.
is a change that committee members need to be aware of.
And then, is that why, in my calendar, I don't have a school committee meeting for January 20th? So I do have one for the 13th. I might just be wrong, but
I don't have that in front of me. Do we know?
if,
Did just come.
No, look.
So we may not, what you're saying is we may not have a school committee meeting on the 20th.
right,
Right. So then they wouldn't have that meeting before the school. committee
okay,
meeting.
and the
Yeah, I would recommend still having the meeting.
the
but,
meeting on
yeah,
that day, yeah.
Unless, again, those are all tentative. So if we need to move them, we can move them all. in
And
that
the
month.
joint,
Okay.
the joint meeting wouldn't interfere with the meeting on the 13th, so that would be.
Currently on the
would just be-
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's currently.
13th, the school committee.
Yeah.
Meeting, yeah. Okay,
And we may want to move that around if we want to just have the joint meeting and then a later meeting in the month, we would have our school committee meeting, because that would, we're not doing it back to back. We'll
Right.
Move that up to Dr.
Right.
Maderas,
I'll take a look at that.
whatever makes sense. We need to approve this.
Yes, please.
Okay, we have a motion and discussion. Any?
Right now, our school committee meeting is January 13th.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So I guess we can approve it and modify. Is it binding on us? I mean, I guess my question is, do we have to decide our school committee meeting now, or can we come back to that?
So the only school committee meetings that I think are important are the 10th of February, the 24th of February, and March 10th.
And those are.
Those are set. The other ones really was just more for context around timing, but not
So
important.
we can change it. It's not going to mess
Yes.
your schedule. Okay. Motion on the floor. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? I believe that was unanimous, right?
Yeah.
7-0.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Item C, please.
I move for discussion and action on the superintendent's district goals for 2025, 2026.
Second,
Okay, Dr. Viveros.
Thank you. So after our workshop, I spent some time finalizing my goals for this school year. I've included baseline data and targets for each of my 4 goals, all which we reviewed at the workshop. The 4 goals presented this evening reflect the district priorities outlined in our strategic plan. Goal 1 addresses academic excellence and staff capacity. Goal 2 addresses student and family engagement and well-being. Goal 3 focuses on our facilities and our next 5-year capital plan. And goal 4 addresses budget and resource alignment, ensuring that our budget supports our current strategic plan. So those 4 goals, those are the 4 goals that I have set. And again, in the document that is up on the screen, I have baseline data in targets to support that. And the format that I followed for this is a similar format to those that the teachers have to upload and that our building principals also follow. So my hope is that with our committee that we can look at the possibility of having all central office administrators, including myself, be able to use the exact system that we use for our teachers and our building principals.
Okay.
So I really haven't made too many changes. I did add a few suggestions on different groups that I would be meeting with. But besides that, I touched on all of the notes that we had taken on them, but there weren't a lot of changes.
And I mean, I applaud that just, you know, for people listening. I mean, in the past, we've had sort of a set of superintendent management goals, which, you know, cover the obvious, you know, leadership and budget, et cetera, and then 3 annual sort of targeted goals. But this year, you're really saying everything needs to be aligned to the strategic plan. And I think that's a really interesting way to start. I think the evaluation is going to be tricky, but we'll love what you're doing. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I have been spending some time with Mr. Costa, our IT director, and we have worked on a format that we think could work. So we've taken parts of the building administrators evaluation tool and the teachers evaluation tool, and we've put together something that we can at least start with.
Yes.
I just think I recall the results of the 2024 survey, which I guess was also in the spring. The 31% that are excited about going to class, pretty much the same. It's pretty close from 24 to 25. We got to make these kids more excited about going to class.
We do, absolutely. So that's some work that we're doing at the building levels, and we have some surveys ready to go so that we can measure it. We've taken the data from our survey works, and we are going to develop surveys that we will send to students so that we can look at data points after each trimester. And then we'll also have the survey works data for 2026. So that will all be a part of it. I've also been meeting with Beth Farley, our data manager, and we're working on a website that hopefully by the end of the trimester, when we have the first set of data points that we can share out, we'll have a website that everyone can go to and they can see the progress of all of the work that we're doing. So our hope is that by the end of 5 years, we'll be able to achieve those district.
Just out of curiosity, is that roughly where most of the state is? Or these surveys, is this Survey Works?
This is, yeah, that information is from Survey Works. So the surveys that we're developing in-house to basically work as a benchmark are very similar questions, much shorter. So I don't want the kids to be overwhelmed by it, much shorter surveys, but really just to pinpoint a few of those areas.
Questions on the goal? Yes, go ahead.
This is a huge improvement, and it's great to see these smarter goals. I still want to add just a few suggestions to be more specific, because I think in the workshop for goal 1, we talked about differentiating like the 1 or 2 year goals, just so that you can show like something might still be in progress over 2 years. And then I was curious with the professional development, staff professional learning, did you want to be more specific? Because Well, the changes in US Department of Ed eliminating the special education program might not impact students right away. I do feel like it will impact staff, special education staff, and I just, if you felt like there were specific aspects of professional development that could be like broken out, it just to say like, it just seems very general to just say like all PD is valuable or relevant when perhaps it is really specialized by special education training.
Yep, so the survey that we've put together, and we already have well over 100 responses just in the PD that we have been implementing throughout the year, is very specific. So when we look and analyze that data, it is specifically by the PD that was offered. So we'll be able to look at that and break it out.
Okay. Another suggestion of being more specific is the family engagement and communication under goal 2. I was thinking that, well, this is your goal for like this year.
Yep.
And we do know that we need to come into compliance by August 1st with this law that requires students to restrict the use of cell phones during the day. I just was hoping to be specific with education resources or a campaign or web resources for families to kind of understand this upcoming transition, or if it's not specific to like one policy, just trying to be a little bit more specific about how we, instead of just kind of like overall, well, like feeling positive, I feel like we could target theme or some aspect of our outreach to families. Also, the second bullet, increase to 50% of families reporting that school improvement plans reflect family engagement. Do you have like the baseline data? Do you see that bullet?
Yeah,
Right up there.
yep, it's up there. So 37% reported that school improvement plans incorporated family engagement.
Okay, sorry, I was looking earlier. But
So each one of the targets that I've created has the baseline data, just
Okay.
right above it.
I wasn't sure where that,
And that came from SurveyWorks.
survey works. Okay.
Can I jump in 1 sec?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I do think,
Oh, yeah.
because there was that discussion about 1 and 2 year goals,
Mhm.
you know, so maybe when thinking about the evaluation instrument and then going back and talking to the superintendent about it, there would be room, if you so choose, to sort of say, you know, maybe we should reframe this as a 2-year goal, right? I mean, in year 1, we want to see X, but maybe we're working ultimately toward year 2. Or if there's, you know, if we're hoping to get to year 1 and qualitatively it doesn't happen, how do we explain what we think we needed to do to get it to there in year 2? But I don't know
Yeah.
how you would capture all of that.
Yeah, and we had discussed the options of having, you know, some of the benchmarks that we use when we're looking to evaluate goals would be exceeding expectation, you know, met. We also said that nearly met is a possibility. And I think that if a goal were to have landed and nearly met, then that would be our, you know, push to turn it into a 2-year goal, to bring it on and then possibly look at targets and realign and develop additional targets to further support it. I think that the way that I've looked at the development of these goals would be the hope is that by the end of this year, these goals reach a place where they've been met. So then next year, we go back to our strategic plan, we look at our next steps and we say, okay, now we've gotten to a good place here. What's the next step that's going to bring us closer to achieving our district priorities for the end of the 5 years?
Actually, I have one last
Yes,
point.
please.
Goal 4, the baseline, it's the second bullet. Current budget process do not explicitly connect district resources. I know we had a lot of emphasis on the superintendent goals, I think last year, on communicating like the budget process to the community and thinking about which we saw some improvement on, amplifying the dates around when families can participate in the budget process of the town council. So perhaps either there, if it's like kind of budget, or in the family engagement section, I do think we still need to continue to educate families about the budgeting process in order for them to be advocates and speak up on the priorities that they would like to see in the town council budget.
I could add that as a target.
Or it's really just, I think,
It is a requirement in the process that all of our school improvement teams have conversations and share their budget process with their school improvement teams and with their families. I was waiting on the approval of these goals to be able to then share it with my team. We do have a building leadership team meeting tomorrow. So that was my thought.
the idea is that would
and the
come up from the school level up or the.
And then I will set the tone for the development of their goals and for the work that we're going to be doing together. And another part of the budget and resource alignment is just really having conversations as we're now starting the budget process, having thoughtful conversations about our next steps as far as looking at our school budgets and saying, okay, so you're asking for $20,000 in professional development. Let's talk through, what are you thinking? Or resources and supplies and materials, and what priorities is that going to be supporting? And really just trying to look at it as saying, our end goal, again, we spent a lot of time developing a really comprehensive strategic plan for our district. And the hope is at the end of 5 years that we achieve the goals and we've kept loyal to those priorities that we've developed. So it's how can we embed it into every process within the schools, and that includes the budget, which is, I think, something that we can improve on.
Other comments? I know we've also, go ahead. sorry.
Yeah, I'll just, this is great. And having these kinds of very concrete goals to work toward, I think, is really critical. And this reflects a lot of work boiled down into one document. One thing that I'm sure you've given a lot of thought to, but I'm curious about, is what the qualitative analysis is that goes behind these numbers. So in other words, if we get to the end of a period and we had 68% as a goal and instead we have 65% or something, how do we go about identifying what it is that worked, what it is that didn't work, and which initiatives? I mean, one of the things when we're trying to make changes in a lot of places, sometimes it's hard to identify what made the difference and what didn't.
Yep. So I think that the surveys that we're developing are going to be very specific to certain goals. I think when we're looking at our overall academics, I mean, we're already doing that heavy lifting by analyzing our data and being able to work at aligning our curriculum to further support our students. So I think that will be a piece of it. It will all come together because we're just doing the work on a daily basis. And eventually at the end, we have our RICAS, our SAT, our PSAT, right, our NGSA. We also have our survey works data. So my hope is that those are measures that are almost like out of our hands. So all of the in-house measures that we're working to put together are going to be like those steps, those benchmarks for us to kind of take the temperature of where we're at and if we're going to be meeting that target. But ultimately, meeting the target would be getting that data back to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I 100% agree that in terms of academics, we've done a phenomenal job of identifying, areas of need and how to go about it and all that kind of thing. And you've really led that charge for years at this point. And it'll just, I'm curious to see how that gets applied then to professional development or
family engagement
and all those things that are a little fuzzier.
And I hope that our outreach and being able to get our students and our families engaged in the process, that will be really meaningful and a very important part of that. You know, we can't do that work if we have only 2 or 3,
Right.
you know, members of the community or our student population at the table. So that's why I feel like we need to like just kind of look at the committees we currently have, look at the programming we have, and then either start to, you know, grow certain programs or bring certain programs together.
Great.
Other comments? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, no more discussion. All in favor of approving the superintendent district goals for 2025-26? Anybody opposed? Unanimous 7-0.
Excellent, thank you.
Gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it will.
I see Mr. Cassidy's back there. And I see we have the next 3 items are all relating to, I have a feeling, Mr. Cassidy's projects.
Mhm, they are.
So maybe we could have a motion
I move to approve all of them.
for discussion and action on, you got to read them though.
Okay. I move for discussion and action on the Portsmouth Model UN Nations team for November 7 to 9, contingent upon raising sufficient funds for the trip.
E.
Okay. Just, discussion and action on the Portsmouth Model UN team for November 13th to the 16th, contingent upon raising sufficient funds for the trip. And F, discussion and action, Portsmouth Project Close-Up Team for March 1st to the 9th, 2026, contingent upon raising sufficient funds for the trip.
Second for discussion, Mr. Cassidy.
Try to keep it quick. I've been told that I speak too long from time to time.
Shades from that.
I feel like it's uniform, but these are the first 2 of what we hope to have for 5 Model UN conferences, which used to be ambitious. Now I feel like it's normative for this group. They've already raised the money for UConn. They're currently working on NYU, which is a smaller group that we're taking to the city. And then come the spring, we're hoping to add BU, which we traditionally do, BC, and we're hoping to go back to Dartmouth again in April. So it is ambitious, especially since this is a much younger team. I hardly have any seniors at all, but.
How many students?
I'm sorry.
How many students are involved?
Right now, there's 30 on the team. There's 22 signed up for UConn with probably we're gonna end up with 24. And then I think 16 for NYU, and then we'll try to bring everybody to BU. And then again, towards the end of the year, Dartmouth will be whatever our smaller group, because that'll most likely be a rental van, just because it's not easy to get to Dartmouth any other way. So it'll be a smaller group of individuals for that last conference, mostly seniors and juniors that we have. But guys, I can't tell you how wonderful a program this is. You see those kids come in front of you every year to sort of express at the end of the year how successful they've been. But again, it's nothing that I do. They're just awesome.
Yeah.
So looking to start another group coming up, and I have 1 senior and 3 juniors who are leading the team this year. So,
Wow.
you know, hopefully next year will be even better, but.
You talk about a smaller group like the group to New York City. Is that constrained by financial?
Yeah, a combination. It's one of the few 4-day conferences instead of the 3-day that they normally are. The Ivy Leagues like to do 4 days. NYU wants to follow suit with that. It also gives us a chance to get into the city a little early so they get to see the UN itself. We do a tour that morning that we get down there. And then everything starts afternoon for NYU because they're running their classes all day long. And then we actually are in their classrooms for these conferences on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. And then usually what we do in the morning is we hit sometimes we do Ground Zero, 9/11. Sometimes we do the Natural History Museum. We try to do something in the morning just to give them a taste of the city before they get into conference. And then it's all academic after that. They're going from 7 in the morning until 11 at night. So there's no downtime, but at the same point in time, they come back exhausted and exhilarated. It's a weird combination.
And how are they raising the funds?
Personal. So they did a couple car
washes?
Limits again, that every time we ask for a bake sale, they put up with us. And generally our community has always been supportive. And then there's some money for transportation that we have been lucky enough to get. which will help us with the buses, which unfortunately are getting more and more expensive. And it's just delivery. So they drive us there, they drop us off, they come back, and then parents drive home from Yukon and then BU and BC. That's traditionally the method. Beyond that, we have gotten some money towards paying delegate fees just as a way to help, because that is truly the academic piece. And then the hotels, they're generally on the hook for. So the parents have always come up with money because they believe in what we do. And I'm always appreciative of that.
And there's scholarships of students. And
We try to, so what we do is any money that the captains make with their bake sales, we set aside at least 2 tuitions so that students that do struggle coming up with the money, the captains then determine how we can bring more kids.
Okay.
And that's why when I say there's 24, we're currently looking at who couldn't go and why.
Right.
And then they will try to add to our numbers that way.
Okay. No, we do have to put this contingent upon raising sufficient
Understood.
funds for the trip, because if we don't, and then we say we approve it and 40 kids sign up, then we're on the
Absolutely.
hook. So, you know, that's why this has to be on the business agenda and why it has to be after each and every single field trip. So,
Completely understood.
Yeah.
And so we do our best to try to make sure that we include anybody that wants to go. The flip side of that is it's a small cohort. I mean, as much as 30.
but you got to do a lot of work
Sounds
to
like-
go on this. It's
Yeah.
not like you can just say, I want to.
Nobody oozes their way to model you in. So they've got to do the research. They have to do the paper in advance. And then they have to commit a weekend to it,
Yeah.
which not every kid is willing to do. We have a whole group of kids. We got 5 or 6 kids that because of football can't commit to either one of these conferences because
Right.
they're most likely going to the state tournament. They have to just say, sorry, we can't do this one. We'll be
Well,
there in February.
People have to pick and choose.
Right?
Yeah.
No, they're being adults.
Yep.
You know, they're
Good.
making those calls.
All right. It's always been a program that's done Portsmouth proud. So,
Then the other one is Close Up, guys. And right now we have 14 students signed up for Close Up. And that is a week in Washington DC studying government from inside the Beltway. And again, nonpartisan, they go in with no expectations. The PIs, the program instructors on that program, lead them through a few days where they're doing legislative work, they're creating bills, they're with kids from across the country. The culture shock is real, and it's one of the most valued aspects of it all. But in the end, they've got to compromise, they've got to work together and do what I feel like our system is currently not doing very well. Talk and work on these solutions and come up with it. All in an effort for Wednesday, we spend the entire day on Capitol Hill. They get to meet their representatives. We always get to meet our representatives, which I'm very appreciative of. And at the end of that day, they get to see a show. And then they have 2 days beyond the Thursday, which is learning about what citizenship is and activism and being part of it, not just a bystander for this system. Friday and Saturday are there with me doing all the other things that we should do in addition. So National Archives, we will see all the things that they should be spending more time on.
Hopefully the government will be open again by then.
That is the hope. You
Yep.
know, the longest is 35 days. We're sitting at 3 weeks now, entering
they'll
the
come
third
together.
week.
Yeah.
I hope we get our head on straight.
All right. Seeing no further comments, all in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous, 7-0. And
Thank you
thank
very
you again for all your efforts and
Yeah.
holding this all together. It's a big lift. All right, last business item, Ms. McDade.
I move for discussion of policy DKC, the expense authorization reimbursement.
Second?
Oh, second. I'm not
Second.
used to second.
I know, got to get used to that. Go ahead.
All right, so this is our first time looking at this as a full committee, so it's second read overall. And basically, I don't know if you want to add details. but
Yeah, sure.
it's upgraded to
Yeah.
be more accurate.
Yeah, so the one change we're looking to make is the reimbursement of meals. Currently, we reimburse up to $60 per day. We'd like to look at increasing that to $68 per day, which would be in accordance with the rate established by the General Service Administration.
I thought that in our meeting, we had
Yeah.
talked about just saying in accordance with the General Service
Locking it to the
Administration,
minimum.
rather than putting a specific amount.
We did
So
make
that
that
could-
change on the document.
Okay,
We did say that,
okay,
we did.
all right.
Budget wise, is there a problem? I mean, this can't be huge money.
It's $8 a day, I think, so no. Yeah, there's very little travel that happens outside of contractual.
Right. So does the policy subcommittee wish to make a motion to change that?
Yes.
Yes, to reflect what we discussed in committee.
So then our final read
Right.
will show that, reflect that change. Okay,
Thank you.
no vote on that. This is our second read. We will vote on it next thing. All right, now moving on to public comment. I had to move that down so that we could get through our CTE. Is there any public comment?
Yes.
Can you give me the sheet?
Just adding her name to it real quick.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. And Heather, is there anybody on line that has public comment? All right. Okay, our first public comment, Dr. Philip Jenkins, can you please state your name and address for the record? And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Philip Jenkins, 9 Passage Drive in Portsmouth. Thank you, everybody. Overall, this school is very good to our students. But I do have a concern. Today, my topic is the book that is read in 9th grade, The Hate U Give. It's a divisive book about the tense interactions between races, along with police brutality. It's born from the writings of Tupac Shakur on page 17, and I'm going to quote this directly. Thug life stands for the hate you give. Little infants fucks everybody. That's what's being read to 14-year-olds in our 9th grade classes. The idea is that the fault of the system is what prohibits African Americans in our society from achieving more. Regardless of ideology, this is an inappropriate book for our children to be reading, especially 14-year-olds. My view of the book is irrelevant. What is relevant is that I do not wish my 9th grader to read it. This was made clear last year when I asked that my son not read any book that dealt with racism, gender studies, or police brutality. Those wishes were ignored. This year, when I directly asked for an alternative book, the book that was given was The Bean Trees, which my daughter will speak about shortly. At any rate, this is my proposal. There are appropriate books that we can read that are not ideologically divisive, books that are uplifting, books that have stood the test of time and that have been read for generations. Parents need to be able to decide. There are, my daughter will not have to be subjected to reading this book, but other parents need to know what is available. The alternative text needs to be given as an upfront option. What I had to do is I had to make contact with the teacher, with the English department. Then I had to have a meeting with the principal, English department, the vice principal. Then I had to contact the superintendent, and now I'm speaking to the board. Parents should be told at the beginning of the year that alternative text exists. After multiple emails and meetings, I now possess that list. It should not be that hard. Let the parents decide what is appropriate to read. I'm not calling for a ban on the book. I'm just asking that parents get to have the final say in what is appropriate for their student without having to take extensive measures. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And my bad, I should have read the public comment statement before. They've now started that we needed to do this, so I'm going to add it now. Per school committee policy, during public comment portion, members of the public may comment on any topic related to schools. Individuals are recognized by the chair, state their name and address for the record, comment up for 2 minutes. If public comment pertains to an agenda not on the item, the committee will listen but not comment, which explains why we're not commenting. And any follow-up needed will become from the superintendent or her designee. So that's why we're not discussing further. Thank you. Appreciate your time coming out.
I have made a request to be on the agenda.
I did, and I had the letter October, I think on Friday drafted, so hopefully you get it. So our next public comment is Abigail Jenkins. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Abigail Jenkins. I live also at 9 West Passage in Portsmouth, Rhode Island.
Thank you.
I am a student here at Portsmouth High School. So I'm talking about The Bean Trees, which was the initial alternative text given to The Hate U Give for my younger sister, Madison, to read. The main themes of this book are not any better than The Hate U Give. They are simply different. The Bean Trees includes very sexual metaphors and references incredibly inappropriate for 13 and 14-year-olds. I myself felt uncomfortable reading it. Many of the descriptions use genitalia to create a mental image that should not be evoked in a classroom setting. For instance, I will read a direct quote. On page 26, it reads, "Never at any time was Luann repulsed by the amputation. After his stump had healed, it did not bother her to touch it, which Angel himself would not do. It had a smooth, defenseless look to it that reminded her of a penis, something she had always thought seemed out of place on a man's body." A main theme of this book is that all men are abusers and all females are abused. The narrator repeatedly speaks of the plight of women simply for being born a woman. The only male character within the book that is not abusive or portrayed as terrible is an illegal immigrant. This leads into the other main theme of the book, glorifying illegal immigrants and heroizing those who harbor them. There are better alternative literary works, ones that are less politically divisive. For instance, Leo Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich. This is also on the approved book list and is an alternative text to The Hate U Give. Themes of this book include the emptiness of materialism and superficiality, the fear of death and denial of mortality, the contrast between inauthentic societal life and true authenticity, the profound isolation and alienation experienced by the dying, and the struggle for meaning, redemption, and spiritual awakening in the face of inevitable death. Portsmouth can do better. Young teenage children should not be studying books in class that are politically biased, inappropriate, divisive, or that demonize half of the human population. There are books that are thought-provoking and uplifting. These are the type of books that should be read in schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment. All right. And we have another speaker, Kayla Anderson. I'm sorry, Kayla Andreen. If you could state your name and address for the record. Sorry, I butchered the first name.
My name is Kayla Andreen and I live at 107 Middle Road. I primarily am just here to support our friends because our children, my husband and I, our oldest will be here in about 5 years. So time will fly, I'm sure, but for now we're not there. But when I heard about the topics in this book, I just immediately thought that children already see and hear these topics in this book on a regular basis from news outlets and peers. And I just don't see a need to saturate them with this when the world already does it enough, you know? I think school should be a neutral place and a safe place for learning and where they can focus on that learning and not, again, be saturated with something that is already so prevalent. And if parents so choose to saturate, then that's the parent's choice. I think, as Philip said, we should be soaking our children's mind with things more positive. That's what we preach. And then to come into a school and be, you know, given a book that is the opposite, it just doesn't seem like it aligns with our town's values of being a community. You know, it's really sad when we have that community mentality when something devastating happens, but we're so quick to say, well, here, read this negative book, even though we talk about being positive and supporting each other. And I think, and this might sound kind of far-fetched for some people, and that's okay, it's just my opinion, but when I heard this, I also thought of kind of the gentle parenting, positive parenting movement of like parents not teaching about spanking anymore. Bear with me, I know this is kind of, you know, a lot of parents now in the last 10 years have chosen not to spank their children for reasons of, well, why are we teaching our children to not be physically violent? And then we're doing that. Bear with me, I know that's a big opinion thing there, but I just felt like it was similar to that. And we teach children not to use profanity in school. And here we are saying, hey, you know what, just in this class, which we all know conversations from classes overflow, right? So I just felt like that was kind of an off-putting, kind of double-edged sword. You know, I appreciate people like Philip going forward and their family so that by the time we get here in 5 years, hopefully an alternative list is very, you know, welcoming and not so that my children feel outcasts because they're reading an alternative novel. So thank you for setting the stage for us.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Okay, are there any more public comment? Any comment online? No? All right. Our next item on the agenda is financial reports. Yes, Mr. Hero.
Thank you. So you have the July, August, and September financial reports. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you remember last year at this point, I was already warning of a potential deficit, but this year, again, no promises, but I'm not seeing anything like that. So I'm feeling comfortable that we'll be on budget. Obviously, I'll update the committee every month, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I just have one question. As it stands right now, can we expect to receive all the federal monies that we normally would receive? Or are there?
So as far as IDEA and ESSA, yes, those grants are out there now. Our application on some instances is not fully approved by RIDE, but those monies are available. I just saw this morning that the impact aid, federal impact aid related to military connected students, that's the staff has been gone. So I'm not sure how. I mean, that's appropriated money by Congress, but I don't know physically or operationally how they're going to process that and pay us. But so I think that could potentially be at least a risk for delay.
The special ed staff is gone too, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's the fiscal staff.
I don't know.
Might be like
Fiscal staff, but it's,
yeah.
it's whatever
Programmatic.
section is responsible for special ed was eliminated.
Yeah.
So the staff that processes the impact aid is gone, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
How much money is that?
I want to say it's 180,000, maybe 200,000 off the top of my, oh, you know what? It's right in the report.
Yeah.
Let's see how close I was. Impact date, 250,000.
Thank you. We don't vote on this report, we just receive it. So I appreciate that. Any other questions? Seeing none. All right. Just a note about our upcoming meetings. The October 15th District Building Committee has been postponed due to a lack of some members being able to be there. Next policy subcommittee is November 3rd. And importantly, we do have this community forum at the middle school. Dr. Viveras already highlighted that in her district update on November 5th, which will go to inform our next round of capital projects. That's what the topic of the community forum will be. And then November 12th is our next school committee meeting. And we do have a Veterans Day holiday on Wednesday. So that means no, this Wednesday? No, November 12th is Wednesday. So there is no, sorry. We just had Columbus Day here. Okay. So that's our upcoming meetings. Can I have a motion for adjournment,
So
please?
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous, 7-0. All right, thank you so much. And thank you again to everybody with the CTE presentation. You had sent in an agenda.
Yeah, we have to adjourn back into.
Oh. Session, but I need to chat with you for just a sec too. So I'll come over here.
All they got.